What's going on, folks? This is Coach Ronnie here, and we are the Strength Coach Talk Show, okay? We got our team here today. We got Coach Harvey over here.
H2 Power Fitness, Zoom Techniques, Sports Performance Training. Speed, make it happen, y'all.
There we go. Then we got Coach Wesley over here.
Mr. Quit or Commit, either quit or commit.
There we go.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm Coach Ronnie, and we are achieving goals by maximizing your potential. Now, we are live and direct at the 4th annual Battle of the Trenches Elite Exposure Camp, right? We just finished the active warm-up. Coach Wesley over here, he killed it. He led the warm-up, crushed it. These guys are right behind you performing the camp as we speak. We got NFL guys out here. We'll be talking to them. We're going to have some fun with y'all, all right? But now, we are a Strength Coach Talk Show first and foremost, so we got to talk strength. So, to get that going, or to stay consistent with what we're about, I found some little information. It's a position statement from PlaySmartPlaySafe.com. It's an NFL sports sponsored entity. And you know, there's a lot of things going to happen with the game of football right now. They say the numbers are dropping, there's a lot of injuries. So this organization put out a position statement regarding tackling. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about these 7 statements that they made, give our spin on tackling and different things they can do from a strength and conditioning perspective to keep the kids healthy. All right? So the first thing they said, officials and coaches must ensure proper enforcement of the rules of the game. A significant number of concussions and catastrophic injuries occur because of improper and illegal contact, such as spear tackling. There is a culture of tolerance of head-first illegal hits. This culture has to change to one that protects the head for both the tackler and those players being tackled. Stronger sanctions for contact to the head, especially of a defensive player, should be considered up to and including expulsion from the game. The culture should change to one of zero tolerance of illegal head-first hits. All right? So they're basically saying, you know, we need to be more disciplined the way with the tackling technique. So we'll start off with you. Basically, Coach Wesley is our resident football expert. He played the game and give you that background sometime, but we're going to start with Coach Wesley, get his opinion on this first statement.
I definitely think that it's things that we should do to ensure safety by teaching proper technique and that kind of thing. But, you know, the truth of the matter is that football is a violent game. And, you know, in order for it to still be entertaining for people to watch and for it to be entertaining for people to participate in, it will remain a violent game. And we have to find a way to keep the violence in the game by making it safer for the participants and that kind of thing. I think one of the main things that we can do is, you know, coach up tackling techniques, you know, at the youth football league. And the better you start learning the proper fundamentals, the easier it is to stick with you and translate with you, you know, as you ascend through your playing career. So I think fundamentals are key, but at the same time, I mean, we still have to be realistic that it's a very, very violent game.
Excellent. Let's dive into the weight room real quick. Can you think of anything specific? Because we're talking about the neck a little bit, right?
Right.
What neck exercises can these kids watch and do to protect their necks?
I think, you know, one of the things that we do is, you know, actual loading and structural loading as well. And just being in a good barbell program in and of itself will strengthen the neck, because the neck has to help stabilize, you know. And in my program, we do a lot of vertical pressing and that kind of thing. So with that being said, the stabilizing muscles of the neck and of the trunk are always engaged. But other than that, you know, other things that we can do is, you know, strengthen the neck or try to, you know, create more resistance and tension, you know, just through abduction type exercises and rotation and that kind of thing. But I think the best thing to do is, you know, to strengthen the neck is have a good strength and conditioning program that's just based on structural loading. And if you pushing heavy weight, the neck is going to get strong. It has the support.
100%.
Well, to add to what you were saying, Coach, with the structural strength workout, okay, I think we need to really also add a lot of, for example, Pilates, because here's the thing, we're keeping that that spine in alignment. A lot of times we don't focus on that, so we sitting there loading. We're doing a lot of load and strength training in those areas, yes,
right,
for pressure and contact purposes. But what about the smaller units? See, so a lot of times we're inefficient in those areas, and those areas add to what you already are doing in the strength in the weight room.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So working on the erectors, the lower erectors in your back, that goes all the way up to the neck, all the way up the spine.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of band work is good. That's why I really like the Pilates, because it works on the skeletal structure.
Right.
Working on those areas of the tendons that connect right directly to that.
Right.
And I think if we were able to implement those type of workouts along with your strength training, that's going to be even more efficient in making your athletes stronger. You know, and I think, and also create much more flexibility in those areas. So that way, if we get in compromising positions, you know, in the midst of your action, your body may be able to compensate for the movement or the pattern of different movements that you're doing.
Interesting point.
I'm gonna say this, kind of touching on some of the points y'all both mentioned. I appreciate that, Coach. Like Coach said, interesting point, great point. I'm gonna talk about habits. Habits. You know, we have kids. I guess the issue is what, leading with your head, right?
Right.
We got a lot of kids doing what all day these days.
Dropping
I'm gonna give you a hint. There it is, right there. All day, all day. When they're not doing it there, they're at school doing the same thing.
Right.
So it's kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of natural for them to go about their business in that matter. So posture and habits is the key.
Right.
Like one thing I'm always teaching, I'm sure everybody here does, is teaching the double chin. You know, that gets them used to that proper posture, and that can carry over to them. We used to call it bull in the neck. Is that the same thing? Okay.
Yeah.
We used to call it bull in the neck. You're not going to be. It's not going to be a natural. It's not going to be natural to bull the neck when you're here all day.
Yeah.
You know.
Are you saying bullying the
bull?
neck?
B-U-L-L.
Oh.
That's what we used to call it. Bull the neck.
See, I'm from the south of the country. We call it bowing your neck.
Okay.
It's bowing your neck.
Bowing your neck. Okay. There we go. So bowing your neck.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not going to bow your neck when you're in this position all day, or it's not going to be natural to bow your neck. So throughout the weight room, from A to Z, we have to reinforce proper posture with these these athletes. You know, and that can be with Coach West. You know, when you have a bar on your back, executing proper posture, or just doing something as in my field, working with a lot of baseball players, shoulder exercise. You still got to maintain that proper posture and be specific. So it kind of ties in with what y'all was saying. You know? All right, folks. So we were talking about this position statement by this particular organization, and it was taking forever. So we had to shut it down. But we brought in our special guest, Dr. Jason Regis. I apologize, I don't have Dr. Jason Regis's bio here, but if you want to pass the mic, you go over your bio.
Okay.
But he's going to talk about, I think Coach Wesley mentioned the fact that a tackle is like a car collision. So if a tackle is like a car collision to your body, who better to have than a chiropractor, right? To talk to you how that contact impacts your body, how it can affect alignment, and get these guys back on the field and keep them healthy. So Coach, Dr. Regis, why don't you talk about your perspective on these collisions and how we can help these guys get back on the field and stay healthy?
Well, thanks, Ron. One thing I want to talk about is what chiropractors do. There's a big misconception about what's out there and what chiropractors actually do. They think about popping your necks or popping backs. Now, anybody can do that and move their neck or their back, but it's not correcting the bone and actually where it's supposed to be. Average bone actually has 14 different places where it articulates with the spine from vertebra to vertebra. And so there's a certain line of drive you have to do to get that to clear properly. Now, a chiropractor, we remove subluxation. That's a bone being out of place affecting a nerve flow, which is kind of like if you have a water hose, if somebody steps on it, the water stops. Same thing happens to the nerves that come out of your spinal cord and go to your organs of your body. But also, it's like a highway. Think of it as a highway where there's a traffic jam, where you can't get off the off-ramp or onto the highway because there's a pile of cars. Same thing happens when there's bones out of place in your body. Now, we know that the average child falls 1,000 times by the time they're age 12. Okay. That's without any sports. But when you come to football, that's a macro trauma. That's a huge insult, like a car accident. And there's micro trauma, doing things the wrong way over and over again, like bending down without bending your knees. Okay. So when you have a football tackle, that's it. Every collision is like a 60-mile-an-hour head-on car crash, and that's going to hurt your body. It's going to throw those bones out of alignment. And so if you start lifting weights, you're actually lifting weights and putting muscle on top of the bones out of place. It's like having a house with 3 different stilts on it. Okay, one is going to be tilting a little bit, and that way the foundation is not strong, and that way the rest of the structure is not going to be strong either.
So that's like when it's like compressing.
Exactly, compressing. And that's what they call degeneration of the spine. And every time you have a hit, the discs are like jelly donuts in between the vertebrae right here. And so every time you have a hit, that's going to squeeze down, okay? And what can happen is there's jelly inside of these discs, and the jelly can actually squeeze out, and that's what they call a disc herniation or disc bulge, okay?
Wow.
And you see some people come in, they have a twisted spine and all the above. And all that happens from the muscles and continues to go on from a young age, as we explained before, all the way up until whether it's the high school level, the collegiate level, and the pro level. And that's why one of the many reasons why collegiate and NFL careers don't last that long. It's only 3.4 is the average span of an NFL career. We won't get into life expectancy that goes along with that. But in order to prolong yourselves, you have to have injury prevention. Prevention is the key, okay? Preparation precedes performance.
Now, Doc, let me ask you real quick. On an average, how many youth, do you see for that condition, some of those conditions that you just described there, from football? From
football, a lot of them. I mean, one week I had 15 players come in from deadlifting.
Wow.
Either deadlifting incorrectly, or more than likely the hips were already out of place and then they were trying to lift weights on an uneven structure.
Okay.
And eventually caught up to them. It's not like the straw that breaks the camel's back. A lot of stuff doesn't always happen immediately. Sometimes it's built up over time.
Okay.
And just like as you train, you don't get in shape after one day. It takes a period of time. You have to trust the process. And same thing with your bones in your body.
Okay.
Now, when you say they came in and they were deadlifting, was this like in training, or it's not a CrossFit situation?
No, it's actually in training. And what I appreciate about what you guys do is you guys are serious about form. We just did warm-ups with the kids out there, and every single kid, every single rep was made sure it was done properly. Right. As a former personal trainer and a physical therapist myself, and I have a master's in sport health science focused on sport injury management, we all know form is key.
Absolutely.
And if you do one rep wrong, that could be it.
So here's the thing, and I'm a little biased, I'm a little sensitive about the deadlift because it's one of my favorite lifts. But you knew that was coming. But with that being said, I think, and this is what makes working with a strength and conditioning specialist so important, okay? Because we hear people all the time, they'll throw stuff away. Like, don't back squat because it'll do this, it'll do that.
No.
Don't deadlift because it'll do this and it'll do that. Anything that you do incorrectly, okay, which means a deadlift is a hip hinge. It's not just bending over and picking a barbell up off the floor.
Correct.
That movement is not executed properly. Not only are you not getting stronger, but you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things that we got to understand through training and that kind of thing, especially as it deals with athletes, is that they have to play the game in pain. You understand? So they should not be training in pain. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right, and everything should be in line. So we got to do a better job as parents, as professionals, expressing to the community how important it is to build on the progressions, to learn fundamental lifts, and to execute them properly.
Coach, one of the things that I learned when I went to a chiropractor a couple of years ago, which I actually implement now in part of my training, is I actually make workouts, when I do core workouts, I make them focus on their back a lot more. Because what I found, and even when I used to work in the gyms and different areas, people get this habit of wanting a core workout and just do abs. They go sit in the chair and they do this one right here, not realizing that their lower back area support the abdominal structure and vice versa. So if I just focus on doing abs all day because I think that's core work, then they forgot, what about my lower back? So when I went to my chiropractor, what he had all the different progressions of building the strength back in my back and my lower back. I do those today.
Yes.
I do the glute. The glute raise with the knee up, all that, because we think that's just physical, therapy. But in actuality, it's regular strengthening to help with those areas. So when I get ready to teach them deadlifts, they already have the smaller stabilizer muscles.
Already activated.
It's already activated. But we don't do that. Well, I'm not going to say we, because I know we do. But a lot of programs don't do that because they're not thinking about, stabilize the muscles in my lower back and make sure my spine, my neck is in line with my spine when I'm doing proper form. They just want to go out there put the work in. Hey, oh man, you're doing a great job. Add 20 more pounds.
keep going.
Now you put the athlete in a situation like you were talking earlier about the compression and hurting themselves even more.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where the big thing about fundamentals is making sure that we have that alignment, but also making sure that they understand why. Educated.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not something you're going to get out of one of those magazines. 6 weeks and you're there. You're going to look like the person on the front. All that's airbrushing and all the above. That person might be in shape already. This is about the long term, and it's about longevity. It's about not only whether it's your NFL career or your collegiate career, it's also about those years afterwards. Walking around. And one of the things I learned in physical therapy was that rehab is life. You don't just do it for 6 weeks of rehab or 8 weeks and then you stop. You have
it's like getting your oil change.
It's getting your oil change.
You got to keep doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because when we get a lot of athletes that come back from injury and the therapist and the doctor have released them to come back to training, once I assess and find out what they did, I reinforce. I go right back. Okay, what were you doing? What did your doctor have you do? What did your therapist have you do? Okay, so before we start working out today, after your warm up and dynamics, we're going to do that.
Exactly.
And then that way we can build them on top of that even more.
When you breathe, you want to think about breathing three-dimensionally as opposed to that type of breathing. When you breathe three-dimensionally, you're activating the smaller muscles that everybody was talking about. You're activating those smaller muscles. And stabilization starts with the muscles that are closest to the joint. Everybody works the global muscles. We got to get in deep to work those integral muscles. So respiration is very important. It ties into this entire discussion. So I think we probably went over a little bit, fellas. So that was great information for everybody. Really appreciate Dr. Regis for stepping in.
Yeah, thank you, Dr.
Great information, and that's it. Was that? Oh yeah.
Dr. Jason Regis with the Transformation Wellness Team, located in East Cobb, Roswell, Alpharetta area. We have early, late hours, working on kids, babies, elderly. Anybody is a good candidate for chiropractic care and longevity maintenance and wellness.
You on the social media?
Yeah, we're at transformationwellnessteam.com is our email, and thetwt.com, and also at Dr. Regis.
All right, folks, that's it. That is a wrap. Now, what we're going to do now, we're going to get live. We're going to go out here and interact a little bit, and you will have footage of this. We're going to be interviewing NFL players, NFL doctors, all the above. So pay attention for this episode. You guys have a great weekend. We will talk to you soon. It's Coach Ronnie, Coach Wesley, Coach Harvey, a special guest, Dr. Regis, and we are out.